So, one, you're probably gonna hear me breathe a lot. First time I have this set up, got the new shoulder mount. So I got the new shoulder mount, got the new GoPro 13 black, Hero black. I'm out where I was hunting all season. This is just behind my house. I drove in with the old side-by-side. All the way up in, there's just deer tracks everywhere. I'm not positive how well you can see them. I'm sure once I get it on camera you can see it better, but coming right through here. So I figured, I kept jumping these deer down here, and so just to give a point of reference, like that's west, and so to the right here is going to be south. Just fell through the ice. This is a little stream. Oh, fell through again. This is a little stream right here. Ooh, that one was deep. All right. Can't hold my foot in here. Okay, so my house is that way. And then I tried the road that sneaks down here. You get to this point. That's a different property. I don't own any of that. And I got permission to be on all of that. And I don't own where I'm at right now. My property actually stops, like kind of where that tree line is off in the distance. But I have access to this property, and I have access to this property over here. I don't know if you can see the ribbon on that tree way over there. When I get closer, you'll probably see it better. So I'm just allowed to hunt all this. I'm very lucky and fortunate for that. So anyhow, I wanted to come out here. I was gonna come down this stream. This is all open. And I was jumping deer left and right all year out there. See if I can't fall into the water. So I want to go just do a little bit of after season scouting. Today is, what is today? Today is December 27th, I believe. Yeah, because I worked yesterday, the day after Christmas. So December 27th, hunting season for Maine technically stopped December 15th, and that was muzzleloader. You're only allowed to hunt December with a muzzleloader, not a regular rifle. So there's no one in the woods anymore, but it's still the closest out here that I could be to a hunting season. So I wanted to follow these tracks. We just got snow like 3 days ago. We got snow on, was it on Christmas or the day before Christmas? Day before Christmas. So let's follow them, see what they were doing. This is a nice track. It's a little filled in because it was a couple days ago, but it looks good. Good size. It's probably, the stride is about as long as my stride is, so I don't know, 2 or 3 feet. So when I was hunting out here, if you go straight right here, there's a road that runs parallel to this swamp. I wouldn't really call it a swamp, it's just a marsh. So that's, if you can see the tree line off to the right over here, that's like a peninsula. There's a water that comes down on the other side, and there's water that comes down this side. And there's a little road, I'm gonna follow that. If you go up there, there's another road that parallels this. It's just, I don't know, 40 feet, 50 feet into the woods. So I usually use that to sneak down when I was hunting. I'm not hunting, so I'm just gonna cruise down through here. Those tracks that we're following dipped right off to the woods here. And a lot of times I found there was a lot of sign was staying on that inner trail, and I think they use that primarily for cover, so they're not out in the open like this. I don't want to walk on this though during the hunting season, because then it puts me out into the open. So yes, I'm walking on their trail, but at least I'm not, because they bed up here, at least I'm not walking in the wide open towards their bedding. Oh, there we go. So that little road comes across. All these deer tracks are cutting through here and going right over that little peninsula is. Just on the other side of that stream. I'll follow it, show you. Oh wow, that one's hammered. Look at that one. That's a trail. Wow, they're pounding this thing. I mean, I know it just got cold and now it's, you know, where are we at? Give a rough idea. Some decent ones right here, huh? Oh, not too bad. The biggest one in the world? I mean, I don't know if it's no Boone and Crockett, but you know what it is? It's bigger than the deer I shot this year, which was no deer. It's a nice clean track. That was recent. I should throw a camera up on this just to see what the heck's in the area. But this right here is actually that stream. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little stream that's frozen. They usually jump this, and now it's frozen, so they just walk across it. I had been coming down this peninsula a couple times, and I was jumping them there too. I don't know if I was just simply getting too close, if I was missing something. There's a piece of the puzzle that I was missing. But when I would come down into here and hang out, I would jump them and they would run this way. If I came down here, I would jump them and they would run back towards the peninsula. Just killing me. I just couldn't figure them out. Now let's cruise along the stream here. We'll get back up on the road. Way down there, I say way down there, it's probably like an eighth of a mile at that. A couple hundred yards. There were some big old rubs, some big old scrapes. So I'm hoping to go down there, maybe find a bed. I know deer started dropping their antlers. There's this YouTube account. It's a Brownville Food Pantry. If you look that up, Brownville Food Pantry. It's a live video, and they have a bunch of feed out for deer. I mean, sometimes you'll watch that, and they have multiple angles, and there'll be like 50, 60 deer just sitting there eating. Now let's set another trail. I'm sorry if you guys just hear me huffing and puffing. I like the shoulder mount, but as soon as I hook this thing up, it's like 3 inches from my face. Thought about throwing my snowshoes on, but it's super light, fluffy snow. Since we got it, it's been super cold, so it hasn't melted and gotten heavy or anything. That track is way bigger than the rest of them. That's hands down the biggest track I've seen so far. Let's see if I can't find a clean one to show you what it looks like. They're following right in. It's this one on the left. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but my whole hand fits in that thing. There's deer out here. Obviously, there's tracks, right? I was just getting beat up this year. I saw the most deer in my life this year while hunting, but man, I just made no contact with anything. And I'm getting ready to, we're having a baby, which I'm stoked about. But I don't know if I'm gonna be hunting that much come next year. Here's a, smaller rub. Small in the sense of not much to it, but it's midway up to my thigh. I don't know how to show it to you on camera. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Whoop, dropped you. That rub, by the way, right here, these are broken. See all this? This is broken. This past season there was a big old scrape on the ground. So there's a scrape right here, right next to that rub on this tree. And there are a couple of them coming down this road. Those birch trees up here, I climbed up in there and I hunted that a couple times, and you could hear stuff walking through the stream and this marsh to my right, but I never saw anything. There's another rub. It's an older one. Yeah, these birches right here. I was climbing up and down, and right here, that's the tip of that peninsula. You can see that tree line. The peninsula opens up to a big marsh. The stream comes down through. These two streams merge together, become a big one. And there was a ton of trails coming up out of this, and that's why I hunted this tree, because I was hidden by all this, the pine. So I would get right between those two birches, I'd climb right up, and I'd be sitting right in there. I could look down through, and I figured they would come out. I was bow hunting, so I mean, I had to be close. I'd be on top of them. But I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a tree right in there. Let's get a rub. There's a bunch of them that come out of that, and they come up through here and rub. See if I can't find some of the other ones. There's one right there. That one was rubbed. And this one was a decent one as well. Height-wise is what I'm referring to right now as far as decent. You can see them all dug in. Now, it doesn't mean that's necessarily a big deer, but height-wise, that's up to my waist. Underneath these trees right here, these pine, there's a big old scrape. This tree had been rubbed. I thought there was a few more right here, but it doesn't really matter too much. But in theory, the bigger the deer, the taller up the rub is going to be. Now when I come around this corner, right in the face. Come around this corner, it brings us right into that marsh. And then right here on our left, this is a high spot, the trail that goes right down through. And it's swamp on both. Well, the left side here is wet lowland, but that out there is swamp marsh. I'm gonna still go out there because it's frozen and I want to go see where that deer was I kept jumping. But check this guy out. This rub right here, and I hope you can see it, is massive. And up here, right in the center, you can kind of see a little dip. You can kind of see the trail going that way, but this dip, that thing had to be 4 feet wide for the scrape that was put down on the ground. And they were just tearing this thing up. all season. And last year when I first moved in, I walked out here. It was right after season. I never got a chance to hunt it last year, and it was all rubbed up then. Now, I'm gonna go out here and look, and there's a good chance that realistically, they're probably not gonna be there. Like any sign, they may have moved already. But normally, I'm walking in water, and somebody drove a four-wheeler out here at one point. Oh, we're cracking. Oh, there we go. So this is wet in the center, and where those pines are, that's the little island right there, and it's circled by the wet. So those deer can hear anything coming. They're up there, they can see anything coming in theory. If they're in the right spot, but they can at least hear it because they're gonna be walking through the water. This time of the year, I don't think they're gonna be there because the security is kind of taken away by the ice. Oh, jeez, oh, that was deep. And when I look this way, that wall of trees are there, that's the peninsula. So now we're past the peninsula. So when you have a south wind, it will be right in your face if you hunt that peninsula. But when hunting season starts, we get more northwest winds, so it made it really hard for me to hunt over here. And I can access across the marsh over there, but that is a poke to get down in there. It's difficult, and it's not quiet, so you have to do it on a windy day. But you can see all the way across this marsh, even when it's not so, like, what was one for? When it's not frozen and everything's still alive, and it's not, dead from the, the snow, cold. There's a deer trail right there. You can see it. It's not fresh, but you can just see it through the cattails. Now, I can't believe that guy drove the four-wheeler out here, or woman, who the hell it was. So I came out here back in November. Yeah, it was November, really, rifle season. And like right here in the trees somewhere, I jumped a deer. I was like right here when it happened. I heard him stand up, and all this was grown in, so I just couldn't see anything. It was thick as a, it was just super wall thick. Like all these cattails are normally, I mean, you see this one. This cattail's probably all, 5.5 feet. Those ones back there could be 6-7 feet. So I think he heard me. He couldn't see me, just like I could hear him, but I couldn't see him. It was one single deer. So I believe it was a buck. But he just took off like hell going through the bushes over that way, and it was just wet and mucky, and there was no way I was ever gonna see him or get him. But look at this deer trail right here. You can see it's been cut in. If you turn around, you can see that they come from that peninsula and from this side. So when you're looking up this way now, the opening is that stream I just followed down. I walked along the right side as far as our angle, how we're looking. So I came along that tree line and it hooked back in around. That's how I got here. And there's that peninsula. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a big body of water frozen right there where that streams are coming together. I think next year I'm gonna hit the spot a little harder, because the beginning of, like, October has a lot of southern winds. At least it did this year. I guess I can't put my money on it, but this year the October had a lot of southern winds. And then November switched over to more west and northwest winds. Something way down there, I just can't tell what it is. I can see it, but I just can't tell. Anyhow, so early November I might try to hit this a little bit harder. I'm just trying to figure out, there's stuff breaking off in the woods over there. Yeah, I just don't know what the appropriate plan of attack would be. I'm gonna go walk through these bushes real quick though. I'm gonna go see if I can't find that bed that I scared that deer out of. Hang on to it, we're going into the thick stuff. Maybe. I'm gonna go this way. I think this way's gonna be the best answer. Obviously, I wouldn't hunt like what I'm doing right now, but I'm coming out here to find where these deer have been. So that way next year when I hunt, I know where they're gonna roughly be bedded. We're gonna be hanging out. So I can try to get close, but not necessarily be on top of them. It's actually an old bed right here. I don't know how well you can see it. It's kind of like a big indentation. Nice flat spot. They can sit here. They're above. They're on nice dry land. They can look out through all of this, watch anything coming. When I came up in here that day I jumped that deer, it was a southern wind. I'm telling you, when I jumped him, he was like in this. He could have been, I suppose, from the angle, he could have been right here. Right underneath all this stuff. He could have been just sitting there, and you would have seen me right through those trees walking up through. And he was like, no thanks, stood up and blitzed it through all this crap. And they'll do that. I've seen some deer run through some nasty, nasty stuff. I mean, it'd be a perfect little spot, but you're gonna hear anything coming for you. If that was a deer, you hung out in those two little open areas I just was. Anything coming for you, you're gonna hear it, or you know, maybe see it, depending on where your opening is. But you're definitely gonna hear it. And if I came up in here that day on a southern wind, so the wind would be at my back, blowing this way right now. So if they were bedded there, they could smell behind them and watch that trail that I walked up in here on, which is exactly what he did, and that's exactly how he caught me. Was I could walk out of that trail, even though I was tiptoeing and I had all those cattails. That water, when you're walking through, it's just loud. And I came up through. I think he was right there. He saw me, turned around, just hightailed it out of here. But I heard him go back towards the tree line on that far side. I mean, nothing was stopping him. He was just cruising. Alright, as you see, we're backtracking here. Up here is where that highway was earlier. I'm gonna go follow that for a few. Sun's going down. In Maine right now, it gets dark at like 4 o'clock. But it is what it is. I almost followed. There's a couple tracks back there that I wanted to follow, but I assume, for the most part, they all meet up on this trail at some point. They either go to it or come from it, and those are the outlier tracks. They are using it right now. They are using it. The looks of this right here, though, is discouraging. That branch is low, and they're going underneath it. Discouraging in the sense, could be a lot of just doe. These tracks here aren't all that big. The bigger tracks were down that way. So heard something move in the woods. I was having a hard time stopping though because I'm falling. And I'm getting old and my knees hurt. Mainly just my right knee. So sometimes when I fall, it's a slow process. Yep. Alright. They're not gonna come to me. I gotta go find them. Some of these tracks are clean, and they go both ways. Well, that last track I just stepped on before I actually got to look at it. It wasn't a horrible size. But like this mess here, they come right through that and right underneath this stuff. It makes me feel like there's not many bucks in this pile unless they've already lost the antlers. Now I say that, and you look at this stuff, and those are all broken apart. I maybe got one up here broken. That'd be an antler. Yeah, feeling. I thought I was gonna get covered in the snow. Oh, no doubt. Okay. So this past year, I'm on that peninsula now that I've been telling you guys about. When I came in down the peninsula, you'd come from this direction. That direction is the point of the peninsula. This past year, I walked out here and I remember standing next to this broken tree, and there was a highway of a trail right where I just came out at. So they're using that. Yeah, they gotta be using that year round then. It makes sense. Alright. The heavier highway of trails is over there. But I want to go to my right. But it's only like 150 yards across, so I suppose I can follow this. And the pot's mail on the other side. I can't tell what I keep hearing. But the pot's mail on the other side, and I can just follow the tracks up. It's got a little baby rub on it. Just a little baby rub. We can call that a Nolan rub. Just a Nolan rub. Something that I'm looking for right now is, one, just simply having a good time looking for tracks. Hey, look, poop. But if they were eating anything, like if there was mushrooms on the side of the trees, you would see them be, biting it off. There'd be crumbs. If they were pulling on branches, there'd be crumbs of that. So I'm just trying to figure out what they're eating in this area. Really, they eat everything this time of the year. It's browse, twigs and branches and buds. See, there's some random tracks that come in. Looks like there's a little intersection right here where they have a powwow to decide what way they want to go. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that nowadays, but whatever. Up the point, crossed it, and this goes down it. I guess there's a couple different options. The majority of them go straight across. Where's the bigger ones go? This is a bigger one. It's going down the point. However, that would make sense because down the point is where I saw that bigger track cross. So it could be that one. I don't know. Jump on or screw it. Excuse me. But it is a single one. They're older than the rest of them. Oh, I just got joined by another track, and that's another decent sized one. So this could make sense too if this is the buck, because the buck will probably hang out with the herd right now. But he's not gonna sacrifice himself per se by being with them, It's more likely to get away from, predators if he's running by himself in comparison to trying to herd up. He can kind of sneak away, getting ready to look at that, but I missed it. Messed it up. Hey, look at that. You got a bed. I almost stepped right in the damn thing. I'm not sure, can you guys see that? See if we can't drop the camera. You can literally see his shoulder marks, or his, you know, elbows, whatever you want to call them. His front arms, and there's his butt. He was looking that way. That's cool. You can see his track from when he stepped out of it. One single bed. I mean, it's not huge. That's my glove for reference. You know. I had a 10.5 size boot. There's that for a reference. That's cool though. I wonder why here. You know, I guess I get it. This is a higher. Alright. I am up for any interpretation of anything that I see along the ways and what I speak on. There's a lot of things that I do not know. I do know that I've done a fairly good job at, I feel like personally I've done a fairly good job at learning sign. I'm working on reading sign, right? That is two different things. You can recognize what sign is, you can, for myself, what I've come to the conclusion is that you can recognize where it is, you can know where to expect it, know where to see it, know how to find it. But reading it is difficult for me, I feel, because like I'll find scrapes and rubs and bedding that's 100 yards away, and or you know, food and water, and then bedding along the edge of it. Look at this trail right here. And what I have a hard time with is still just connecting it, right? Are they coming from bedding and going to feed right now? Or are they coming from bedding and they going over here to check their scrapes? Or are they going this way, that way? And that's reading sign. That's an art in itself, I feel. Seeing it, finding it, good at. When it comes to actually putting it into a factor, still working on it. So anything you see in these videos, hey man, we're all learning. I'm glad to take your input. Anything derogatory, negative, anything like that, it's not what we're about. Not that we can't handle it, it's just what's the reason for it. Help each other out. Life's short. I found my tracks. Look, I can track this. This is me. I know how to read that. Well, we made the loop, went down, checked out some bedding, well, checked out where I jumped that deer, came back up through, walked up the peninsula. Now we're walking back. There's no tracks in my tracks yet, so I don't think there's anything out here right now. But we're coming back up on the old side-by-side. Appreciate people tagging along. Hope you learned something. If you didn't, I hope you just enjoy hanging out. Hope you had a good time. I'm sure I'll get another video here before too long. I'm gonna try to accomplish some things coming up. I want to do some property maintenance, get prepared for planting a food plot for next year. I'm gonna be doing some ice fishing. So, alright. Anyhow, I'll catch up to you later. Have a good one.